Last thing I want to ask you is about the Parkinson Rec Centre and the rec program of borrowing that people will see eventually down the road with the alternative approval process. Can you kind of explain? There's been a lot of discussion about the numbers, 242, 287 million, et cetera, et cetera. Can you kind of walk us through the numbers?
I think it's important when we look at this whole program is that it's not only is Parkinson Recreation Centre, it's also the facility that is being redone in Glenmore. Mm-hmm. It is the facility that is being redone in Rutland and the adding of of what's happening in Rutland, and it's also mission area. So when we looked at the recreation plan, and that's what we had suggested, that staff go back and look at it not as a one-off, as look at it as a complete whole recreation plan, and then come back to us with potentially how that could be completed. Now, under the under municipalities, there is basically a rule that it ends up being that the debt ratio that a municipality can carry has a maximum of 25%. Okay, and that's a cap on it. Kelowna, the city of Kelowna, has its own cap of 15%. So basically, we say that, you know what, we're not going to exceed where we are with regards to the 15%. As it sits right now, we're at about 3%. So to put that into perspective, what happens is if you want to go buy a house, you go to a bank, you go to anything, and you're looking at basically they're factoring it based upon 33% debt servicing in order to buy that house. And that allows you to buy that house. And they finance the difference. If you were to sit back and wait to obtain enough capital individually to buy that house, you'd never catch that train. Because every time that you thought you'd got there, the price would continue to go up. The way that the city sits right now with 3%, what we did is we looked at it and said, there is the ability for us to borrow capital and in order to basically complete these projects. So if we look at saying, okay, all these recreational projects, if we were to go borrow the capital, where would that put us on a debt servicing ratio? And where it puts us is at 7% overall with regards to debt servicing ratio. But it doesn't put us at 7 right away because there's stages of it. It puts us basically at 4, 5, 6, and by the time we get to 7, the project is complete. Now we're getting revenue off of all of those projects, so now we start to pay it down. If we wait continuously for all of the capital to have capital within it, what happens is that's a greater cost to the taxpayers, and the taxes are going to go up because the cost of these projects continue to increase. So we're not putting ourselves in a position where the city is excessively on a debt ratio standpoint. What we're trying to do is we're trying to advance projects like this, also infrastructure projects, roads, things along those lines, where we can stay conservative with regards to the ratios, but we can also get the projects done instead of waiting until the cost continues to escalate over a period of time. We also had the Legacy Fund, and the Legacy Fund was established, which is an amount of capital, which now with the investment on the Legacy Fund is allowing us to pay the interest off on the borrowing of the 241, because the Legacy Fund returns at an interest of about $4 million a year. So when we look at what we were trying to do with regards to the financial structure to build the Parkinson Recreation Centre, we looked at something that would allow us to obtain financing, and we also are able to go to the municipalities have their own structure so that we can borrow from them. Right. We're borrowing at interest rates that are substantially less than what the average individual could borrow at for projects that are within the community. So I know that's a lot of information to kind of be there, but it's just a reassurance that currently our debt ratio sits at only 3% with regards to it. We're able to go to 15%. That's a city guideline that we have, which we could expand because the municipalities one is at 25%. This project itself will only get us to 7%, but will then start to return capital to pay us back off and allow us to move forward with all of these sports facilities.